because we have breaking news at this moment, and Shams joins us live in advance of the lottery with that, the latest on Giannis and his future. Shams, take it away. What do we have?
Greeny, I'm here in Chicago. Sources tell me that Giannis Antetokounmpo, for the first time in his career, is open-minded about exploring whether his best fit moving forward is outside of Milwaukee. So whether he's going to remain as a Milwaukee Buck or move on potentially, he's going to explore that, spend time exploring that, considering those options. And this is really the summit of Giannis Antetokounmpo here in Chicago. You have all 30 teams, all 30 decision makers here, agents here, and those conversations will be naturally substantive and free-flowing. He is the biggest domino in the NBA right now. He's a 30-year-old in the prime of his career, and his potential availability is something that all 30 teams, 29 teams outside of Milwaukee, are monitoring. And John Horst, the Bucks general manager, he has reshaped this team multiple times, retooled this team, added talent, brought them their 2021 NBA championship, but they're going into this offseason really depleted on a lot of their resources. They have one first-round pick. They have eligible to be traded. They're not really a cap space team. They're very top-heavy as far as salaries, and we know there's that $54 million salary slot with Damian Lillard, and his performance next season is going to be in jeopardy because of that Achilles injury. And so all eyes here in Chicago are on Giannis Antetokounmpo and his future and what it means for potential contenders, teams trying to take that next step. Obviously, his availability is something every team is going to be monitoring, but he's played 12 years there. There's a lot of equity there, and so he's going to have really the next few weeks to explore his options.
All right, obviously enormous. I'm doing this from off the top of my head. He has 2 years left on his deal, right, Shams? Which means he has a good deal of control over his circumstance, but not quite the level that some players do when it's like, okay, I got 1 year left, either trade me or I'm out the door. As best you can, Shams, walk us through what we should expect the timetable to look like. Now you've broken this news. Now what happens?
Well, his agents are actually based here in Chicago. Everyone's going to be here in Chicago. And these conversations, team to team, really every single really contingent party around the NBA. I would expect these conversations to go on this week, over the next several weeks. The draft, of course, is in June. And so between now and June's NBA draft, that's really the period where a player like a Giannis Antetokounmpo and then Kevin Durant elsewhere in the NBA, where there's going to be conversations, there's going to be dialogue as far as what that best fit is, either the player staying or potentially leaving.
Winman, you have been talking about this night and how it factors into the Giannis of it all. So now we hear this from Shams. Winman, fill in some blanks for me here as far as how tonight will impact what happens.
Let's just make this clear. Tonight is about two players, Cooper Flagg and Giannis Antetokounmpo, okay? Cooper Flagg's going to find out where he's going, and Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to find out which teams potentially have the strongest hand. Because this is a top-heavy draft, anybody in the top 4 picks is going to be exciting. Two things you have to know about the Bucks when you consider a trade. Number one, the Bucks do not control their first-round pick for 5 years. That means if the Bucks are going to trade him, thinking that they're going to tank for the next 3 years and rebuild is not going to happen. They need quality players, and the other thing that you need to know is if you're going to trade Giannis to a team that's going to be a super team, getting that team's draft assets is not exciting because they're not going to be very high picks for the next few years. So you're going to look at teams that have players to trade and other teams' draft assets that they can trade besides theirs. So San Antonio and Houston, San Antonio and Houston, San Antonio and Houston. Pay attention there. And the other thing is Brooklyn, because Brooklyn has Phoenix's future drafts, but Brooklyn's current players, not that strong, not as exciting of a player acquisition. The other team to watch, the New Orleans Pelicans. Why would I say to watch the New Orleans Pelicans? Because the New Orleans Pelicans control the next 3 drafts of the Milwaukee Bucks. And if you're going to do a deal with the Bucks and you want to open the door for them to do a rebuild, you may have to go to New Orleans, try to get the Milwaukee stuff out of New Orleans, and then offer it back to the Bucks. Of course, the Pelicans could make their own offer, but I suspect that what they're going to try to do is a 3-team trade. All of these things will be clarifying once Giannis makes a decision and once we see what the lottery results are tonight.
That's why he is the best, because he answered my question before I actually asked it.
Greeny, I'll just say this. Look, all the assets need to line up. But San Antonio does have the environment that I feel is something that is very Giannis-like, right? It's very home-like. It feels kind of similar to Milwaukee, but the weather's warmer. And that and Wemby together is a scary combination.
Monica.
That is
Giannis,
terrifying.
Just saying.
Where? Just give me a spot. Give me a spot that Giannis walks into now. And again, we don't know what they would have to trade, but that he walks into and you're like, oh, that's the title right there.
Of all of the places that Wendy just rattled off, I personally am most curious about Houston because to me, they seem to be the closest. Now, granted, if Wemby is healthy, you could see how does San Antonio play out. But at this point in his career, he's not just looking to be